You know, life's a funny thing. Some of us are dealt some pretty cruddy cards, and then we're expected to just grow up. Normal. That leaves a lot of us to struggle as we navigate through life's difficult times. And if you're anything like me, you have no idea what the hell normal is. Welcome to the Wishbone Podcast with me, your host, Luke Ohana, as we discuss and share our life stories in hopes of helping each other out. So if you got 30 minutes, let's talk about it.
Important, but I definitely think you kind of hit the head as far as where I go with things.
One more example.
We all have responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoots. Go ahead.
Felicia was she was coming up. She's doing this new thing. I won't say what she is doing, but she's doing this new thing so she can do the stay-at-home mom stuff and like work from home.
Okay.
Because she's trying to save me. Yeah, she's trying to save me from the second job, and I love that, but I also don't want her to have to put even more things on a plate that she'll have to do at home because I won't really be here. So she's telling me about it this morning, and then she was like running around the house trying to clean, and you could tell she was like on edge. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I just got like so much anxiety right now." And after that talk with the kid last night, I was like, well, just don't call it that. Just like, what is it about? Is it about that new thing that you're talking about? She said, yeah. I said, okay, we'll call it excitement or something, because the anxiety like puts a bad feeling on it. And she says, well, it's like, I just can't help it. Like, I got energy coming out the tips of my fingers. So I'm like, okay, well, what your body's trying to tell you to do, you're so excited about this, you need to go and write that. You said you got so many ideas just coming through your brain. Go write all those ideas down so your brain can calm down about it. So it feels like, okay, well, all these thoughts that I'm having, I need to do something with them. Just put them down on a piece of paper so that your brain can kind of fucking relax right now. And you can go and do something. So she did it, and she goes, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And I'm like, I think I might have done something here.
And I think that's a great idea, because like you said, I think your body is so full of this energy. It comes off as anxiety, and one way to help for sure is to actually put it to paper and see it come to life, give it some sort of life, even if it's just on paper.
Yeah.
And I think that is also kind of I think you'd agree with me, but I think a lot of philosophy I have in life is to make sure you have upward momentum. So giving your life any sort of upward momentum is going to help you dissipate that anxiety. So just by putting it down on paper, you've one step closer to making it real and adding to that momentum. And I think that helps quite a bit.
I agree with that 100%. That sounds way better than how I put it. Yeah.
No, you did great. No, you did great. I agree 100% with you. That sounded patronizing. You did great. Good for you.
Thank you,
Good job.
Dad.
Thanks for showing up. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yeah. Where do my hands go? Yeah. Anyway, how do you like the podcast? Was it fun being on the episode? Yeah.
It was so much fun. Yeah. I can't wait to do this again sometime.
Okay, cool. I was just gonna ask you, do you want to do it again? Now again, I don't know why. Not why. I don't know how well this is going to get perceived, but so far it's been pretty cathartic for me. It's much easier to talk to someone on the other end of this glass lens that I'm looking at. But yeah, you've been definitely instrumental in supporting me on this. I got to say, I appreciate you very much. It's it's tough. It's tough putting yourself out here the way certain podcasters do.
Yeah. So yeah, I bet, dude. You got a lot to unpack. I mean, you're just this fucking fun-sized guy that has so much happy energy, and you've got these great kids, and no one would ever guess that you went through everything that you went through to get to where you are now, and you're just the fucking best person.
Oh, thanks, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without getting into tears. Yeah, thanks. I think, this energy that I think we connected because we do have this very similar past, I think, for sure. We definitely struggled, and I think that's what allowed us to connect. But I was going to ask you before we close it out, what is one thing that you struggle with now? And yeah, we'll start with that real quick. As a parent.
As a parent, yelling.
Yeah.
After Clevie said, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back, I spent the rest of the day and talked to multiple people, and I usually do that. I treat everybody like family, especially when it comes to my personal issues. I really probably shouldn't do that, but I just asked so many people for advice because I am open to it. I've been very clear with Kaivi and Felicia. Like, I have
Yeah, I love
no
that.
idea what I'm doing when it comes to Kaivi, and that's the way that it started, and that's still kind of the way that it's going because of all the bad choices that I've made leading up to this point as a quote unquote parent to him. Um, so yelling is my biggest downfall right now as a parent, and I'm just struggling to refrain from that. It's
Wow.
I am not proud when I do it. It doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't make my kids feel good. Doesn't make them trust me more or feel happy that I'm there.
That's a good point.
It really sucks when I do it. So I'm just coming to realize that's probably the worst part about my parenting style.
That's huge insight too. I think that's pretty crazy. It's amazing to me that you have that insight, and that you can't say it's generational. I don't
No,
necessarily think, but I definitely think it takes a certain amount of maturity and a certain amount of humility to be able to do that. Like you said, you're open to any advice, good, bad, or other. You're ready to hear it. You're open to hearing
yeah.
it. Do you
What
think
about
Kobe
you?
would ever be willing to be on the podcast? Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, actually, I'll ask him about it. That's a great question. I don't know if he'd say
Yeah.
yeah, but
If he doesn't,
I'd
that's
love to hear his
obviously
answer.
that's fine.
No, I'd love to hear his
Same.
answer.
That'd be one mirror I'd love to look at and see what kind of reflections you get back.
And
Um,
partly because he doesn't really open himself up about certain things,
okay.
about like maybe what I've done wrong or what I'm doing right. He just usually is like, "Yep, everything's good," and I'm just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
doesn't really look that way." But I mean,
Yeah. One thing, before I answer your question, one thing I've noticed is I'm nearly 40, and I think it's taken me this long to properly put into words what's going on in my head. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for like my kids, because I ask them too, and I'm expecting them to be very eloquent and like,
yeah,
but they have no idea what's going on. At least
yeah,
that's the gist that I get. I'm fine is the best they can muster. So I would like to cultivate a more in-depth view with my kids on how they're feeling on the inside, because I'm sure I've let them down. I think any parent has,
yeah.
but it'd be nice to see kind of their reflection on it and hear from them. Um,
That's
Real
I
quick
don't know
anecdote. Oh,
anybody
go
else
ahead.
that does that. Get the
What
kid's
you mean?
perspective in the matter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. So the anecdote that I was going to give is my dad and I got into a heated argument once. I was like 12, and my youngest brother, who's 8 years younger than me, so he's like 4, was dropping f bombs, this, that, and the other. And I was like, Dad, you gotta help him out because he's gonna grow up still swearing it. And he's like, Who the hell are you to tell me how to parent? And in my head, I was like, Aren't I the person to tell you how to parent? Because I'm the product of your parenting.
Yeah,
I felt pretty proud of myself at the time. I said it, and I got lit up. Like,
yeah,
he made
oh,
sure
man.
to let me know it. But I still feel that way. Like if my kids tell me a certain thing, like I would take their opinion more to heart than I think almost anyone else because they
Yeah,
know they're
yeah,
living it.
yeah.
So I would love to hear from them.
I
But
think
to
that
answer
that's a
your
great
question,
idea.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I said I think that's a great idea.
I think there's a
Sorry.
line is what we're
There
running
is.
into now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Um, sorry. But what's funny is when we upload it, there's going to be no lag, so we're just going to look like
Oh,
idiots,
oh, damn it.
like bumping into a wall. Yeah, there's no helping me. You had a chance, but now we're both kind of screwed. Anyway, I definitely would say I I have I have found lately during this past year an inability to soften this. Like I was telling you that the boys and I we do this thing where we ask ourselves these philosophical questions that I ask in Matters of the Gray Matter. Um, that came from the fact that we were having these awesome conversations with each other and discussions, and it was awesome to watch. But
Mhm.
I would ask like, well, what do you mean by that? And in my head, I'm coming across just very neutral, like, oh, that's a good point. Please elaborate. And then my
Yeah.
kids are acting like I just scolded them. So I'd ask them, well, what's going on? And Erwin was the one finally came out and said, you're being a jerk. Like you're coming off like you're mad. I'm
Oh,
like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Like
yeah,
this is lying to you because so I definitely struggle for sure with that. Like this resting jackass face and the tone that accompanies it. I can hear it sometimes.
yeah.
And I wonder if like if you've seen it and I've come off a certain way or if I've given you a look because again, I have no idea what this face is doing.
Yeah,
But in my head I'm all rainbows and sunshine, you know?
yeah,
It's just so
yeah.
weird.
Maybe
It's a
maybe
very
it's
odd
not
thing.
your face. Maybe it's I don't know if kids these days really try and challenge each other's ideas. So when they get asked something as lightly as abrasive as that was, which is just really
Okay.
like what do you mean by that? Then it
Yeah.
causes them to rethink what they just said. Like maybe they said it wrong, or because they probably have never really been asked the question.
You know, that's a good point because it's kind of the reaction they get. Although Irwin did say I was coming off a certain way, but I do agree with you. Like, it's like, they're like, well, I guess I'm wrong. No, I'm not saying you're wrong by any
Yeah,
means. You're not wrong.
yeah. Like I
Elaborate
think if
on
another
what you're
kid their
saying.
age asked them that question, what do you mean by that? And I don't think that they would know what to do because
Oh,
I
I'm
don't think
almost on
kids
the
do
boat
that.
where I was going to say that I think they would just jump into an explanation, and maybe it's more so as an adult asking a
Mm,
child.
okay.
But I think you're definitely, I think you're onto something for sure. But I think that's important that we do that, right? Like they need to learn how to be comfortable with their opinion in the face of adversity
Yeah,
and how to calmly express it.
yeah.
So how
I
do we get there?
spend more time with our kids. I don't know,
Oh,
like
I love
quit
that. That's
work.
a great answer.
You know what I mean? It,
That's a great answer. Yeah.
how I remember or how I think. I know this isn't reality in our past for all across the world, but how I think we spent time with our children was they were probably just with us all day every day doing what we needed to do to survive the day and make a better
Hmm.
tomorrow, rather than they go to school, we go to work. Because how long has like public school systems been
Separated.
around, kind of thing? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but I think that they spent a large majority of their day just being with us and being in the community, interacting with who we interacted with, and they just got to learn exactly that, like
Right.
abrasive, reacting to abrasive things like, why do you think that way? Uh,
Hmm.
just in a natural setting, and got to see you do it versus them just being
Right.
hit with it for the first time without any kind of
Yeah, that's a good
experience
point.
or knowledge of how that ever has happened. So
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
yeah, so we should be
You
quitting our
know what?
jobs and,
Well,
and living in the
I
woods with our
do you
kids.
believe, which I'm 100% behind, 100%. But I know you're definitely a theist. Like you believe in God, right? I, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
Or
I don't.
no, okay,
So, well, let
good. I'm
me
glad I
kind
asked.
of, I want to touch on that just a little bit. I don't know.
Okay,
I haven't. There's
okay,
certain thing. There's science, and there's a bunch of things that say that he doesn't, and but there's a the whole world believes that he does. So and different religion. There's different religions. There's different cultures. There's all these things, and people have had different experiences. And for the most part, all the people who I've known that were religious, and of course, every group has their bad eggs. You hear horror
sure, yeah,
stories, you hear whatever, and all that. But for the most part, everybody that seems to be just a little bit religious and open about it, and they're like the nicest people, and they have their shit together.
mm,
And I'm just wondering, like, is it because they believe in something, or is it? I just really don't know what to ask. So
I got you.
I just don't know. I would like to have that kind of, and of course you can do this without religion, but I'd like to have that kind of mentality where, like, I'm doing this for a higher purpose, and without that somebody up there keeping you accountable, you're the only one really keeping yourself accountable. And for a lot of people, that's really difficult to do. That's why, like,
Mm,
usually people do better in a group setting when it comes to sports or the
mm,
gym or whatever the case may be, school, academics. If you're if you're the only one going to school and no one else is in the school, and you just have these books and you go there to learn, and you're the only one keeping yourself accountable, well, like, what's really keeping you accountable if not for, like, the math group that you go and compete with, or whatever. You know what I mean? Other people keeping you accountable. Your teachers who you look up to, your counselors, your parents keeping you accountable. I think that's a big help. But if you don't have those things, if you believe that somebody's up there keeping you accountable and you owe him something, I think that helps. Just make sure that you get your shit done. Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be a cool discussion to have on another podcast, because I'd like to get into that for sure, like into depth. That'd be really cool. I think it'd be a very interesting discussion.
Yeah.
But the only reason I was asking is because I didn't know if you believed how old the human race has been on Earth. Like, I don't know. Like, you believe in evolution, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I don't want to assume. So I was going to say, like, in the geological amount of time that we've been in this society, which is like, let's say 5,000 years, let's say 10,000 years. Prior to that, we were, like you were saying, glued to the hip, doing everything as a family unit, having our quarrels as a family unit in a village setting. So I think you're right. I think we have evolved to mimic, right? We would see our parents or our elders or our community do these things, and we would mimic that. So it is pretty interesting to see with the onset of the internet and kind of a lot more isolated living that we do have a lot more anxiety. And I think the cure is you just be there with your kids and put them into these situations, into nature, in with other people, eye-to-eye contact, so that they can actually learn those skills and practice them and whatnot, which is so funny to say because that's how we grew up. Like, we're the last generation that did that, in my opinion.
Isn't it weird? Yeah,
But
it was the flip phones and the
really
Blackberries and then the smartphones. And, like, I just remember texting everybody instead of talking to them. It was so weird.
It was 25 cents a text, which is crazy, but yeah.
Bro, yeah.
This was nights and
how
weekends.
quickly I would run those cards down. My mom would be so pissed.
Oh, man. 200 texts, that's nothing. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah. And then what's one thing that you think you do really well as a parent, or that you would like to think you do well, I guess?
And this is bare minimum stuff right here, but I'd like to think that I care. I like to think that I care a lot, like so much, and it's like it's created this drive in me since we've been here to just do the absolute best that I can. Because for Evie, I was not doing that in the beginning, and now that I see the potential that I have to create an awesome future for them, that drive is freaking awesome, and I think that just because I care so much about these damn kids. I want the best for them, and like I said, so should any parent. But like, I don't know, I can't really pinpoint one thing that I feel like I'm doing right.
But, you say so should every parent. I agree. Every parent should be this way. But I think where you and Felicia excel as a team is you guys actually put action to your words. Like, I can say the same thing. I care deeply about my boys. But I don't think I'm as capable of putting into action what you guys are doing. Like, you guys have your own house, which is amazing. And you guys are able to... Like, you guys eat super healthy. Like, if you watch Felicia's channel, which I encourage you to do, but if you do, like, she's making her own sourdough bread. She's making her own meat, bacon. Like, you guys are raising chickens. You guys are putting into action. And then not only the everyday stuff, but, you're going to be picking up here multiple jobs just so you can allow yourself to have that one-on-one time as a family with education and whatnot. So, and I understand that's not available to everybody, and so they shouldn't be faulted for it. But like, my dad had every opportunity in the world, and he actually had lots of opportunities to make 6 figures a year and provide us with college, but he got in his own way. And I hate to fault the guy and say he didn't care enough because I wasn't in his shoes, but it damn well seemed like his hubris got in his way, and he cared more about his machismo outlook on life rather than just swallowing your pride and sticking to a 6-figure job because some guy thinks you're a dick. So what? And so, but you couldn't care less. If you had to shovel pig poop to make a living, you would do it, and I know you would do it without any hesitation.
100%.
None.
If it pays the bills, that's I really don't give a shit at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want my wife to be able to stay home Yeah, I want my kids to be able to just, like we just discussed, I want them to be around their mom as often as possible. I think that's really important to see that their
Yeah.
dad's going out and working really hard for them. I think that's really important. Granted, they don't get to go
Right.
and see the work, which is something that I think that we're missing because dad's gone, now there's money in the account. They don't really see what dad is doing and how hard
Yeah,
he's
there's definitely
working.
disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I wish I could change, but I just think that this style of parenting is if you don't really have any other options, this is probably as good as it gets right here.
Right. You're doing this because this is the best way to provide this outcome. But let me ask you, and I think I know the answer. Let's say you had to work 1 hour a day to make the same amount of money. You would be at home with Felicia doing the homeschooling, I would assume.
Oh, 100%. I'd be probably doing
Okay.
all or most of the chores. I'd be making
Yeah.
sure that everything that I could possibly do is taken care of. And that's what I do before work.
Right.
That's what I do after work. And that's what I do on my days off. I'm trying my best to make sure that the day's easier for her so that she can spend time with the
Right.
kids or do what she needs to do. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's very important to
Yeah.
me, and everything's for the kids.
Which is funny because you're fulfilling this cycle, like you are being that dad without, putting it in obvious words, but you're being that dad that you always wanted as far as your kids. So it's like your kids are your promise
Yeah.
to yourself.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. That's great, man.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about that with Graham. Like Graham and Erwin, like my dad had two sons. It went horribly wrong, and then I get two boys. It's just so weird, like how it worked out, and now it's like a way of fulfilling a promise. Because I promised myself I wouldn't be my dad. I'm sure you promised yourself you wouldn't be the lack of a father figure, and
Right.
here we are, full circle, which I think is just incredible.
Yeah. The provider and
Damn
protector. That's my
Yeah.
favorite way to think of a dad at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. And not to say that Felicia, because I don't want it to come across that you're like, oh, women belong at home and
No.
men belong working. That's not it at all. But you want to work. You're willing to make that sacrifice. And Felicia and you guys have talked, I'm sure. And she said, this is kind of what she prefers. And I think that's what makes your guys' teamwork your team effort work. Yeah.
There's compromises.
And it is
100%.
awesome to see. Bango, 100%. And your kids are shining examples of that. So I did mention that I'm the godfather of Fallon. I'll be godfather of all your kids. No, I would love to, but Fallon,
I figured that it was assumed.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Like, I wanted to post it, but I don't want to put your kids on the internet without, whatever. The internet's a crazy place, but
It
she drew
is.
pictures of us. And that honestly, that made my month. Like,
Yeah, you know who was missing out of that, Luca? Her dad.
I saw the whole thing. I was
like,
in it.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
I was in it.
where's dad? She goes, I don't know. Well, here's Uncle Luca.
he's taking the picture. Oh man, dude, Fallon, for whatever it is, and Fallon is like the most pure, fair. What is the word? Like honest person. Like, she's at that age where everything is pure about her, and that's what I love, and that's what I think is indicative of a miracle. Like I talked about in my last episode, but you can take someone who's as damaged as we were, or continue to struggle with being, and you can interact with someone who has no idea that side of life, that kind of pain and everything, and you guys can make a connection. And not only that, but her and I would like to think pretty close. Like I love talking to her, and she, it seems like she loves talking to me. I don't want to over assume, but I think that's the miraculous part of human connection, is that ability to do that.
Yeah,
because I love that girl. Yeah,
human connection is probably the most important part of being human, and you guys, your relationship is like, it's freaking awesome. I love watching it, Kindle. I love that you're the godfather. Because you just seem like you care so much, and they love that, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, of course. I'm getting all teary-eyed just thinking about, anyway. Not to say she's not loving with everybody. That's her, right? Like, she's just
Dude, there was a fucking
Aloha.
weirdo walking down our road out here. She's playing on the porch on her tricycle, and she's having a conversation with this fucking guy. And
See?
about to come out and pull out the gun off the waist. Like, Fallon, what? You trying to get this man killed? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you trying to get yeah, I'm not trying, Dad. I was hoping you'd just do it. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. So, hats off to you. You guys are definitely doing an amazing, incredible job. Like, hats off to you. I think you guys, I think the world of you guys. But anyway.
Hey, you're doing an incredible job too with your kids, man. It shows.
Yeah, thanks.
Your kids are freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're taller than me now, so I have to tell them that.
You better treat them right, because they're going to put you in the ground.
I better treat them. They're gonna punch me, yeah. Erwin's face, he's getting long peach fuzz just like on his cheeks.
Damn it.
I hate, oh, yeah.
What the heck, dude?
Why do we go there? Why do we do that? Why is it a bad thing? I'm curious.
Well,
to me, it's
for
horrible.
me, because I barely have any peach fuzz on my face, and you're fucking... How old is he? 13, 14, 15-year-old?
He'll be 13 this year, yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, he's 13. He's 12 right now, to make it feel worse. He's only 12.
You son of a bitch. Good for him.
Like, I'll tell the story real quick. I'm sure I'm going to embarrass him, and then we can wrap it up. But we were working out. This is like 6 months ago, and he was doing some shoulder presses, and, he lifted up, and I told you the story already, but he had armpit hair, like not a little bit, like a lot. And it knocked me on my knee. Like, I had to go sit down. And I was, like, throwing for a loop. And I'm like, I don't know if I should cry or rage and, like, punch a wall. Where's the wall? And so, I'm honest with them. So I'm like, oh, man, I wasn't expecting you to have so much hair. You're growing up so much. I'm not sure why I'm upset. And, they're like, well, I'm growing up. They're like, it's just Dad being a crybaby. But, and then 2 weeks later, we were at a hotel for a little staycation. And I accidentally walked in on him. And there was a man, like, I walked in on him in the bathroom, and there was this man there. As I hurried and shut the door, and I'm like, there's a full-grown adult, like, in the bathroom. So I'm, like, on the verge of tears. And then my youngest comes up, and he's like, what's wrong, Dad? You seem upset. I'm like, I am upset. I don't know why, but I just happened to see Erwin, and, I just noticed that he's developing hair. And this kid goes, oh, I'm growing hair too. I'm like, yeah, time out, man. Let the cookie cool, bro. Like, I need a minute. So, but someone asked me, like, why is that upsetting? And I don't know. Like, it's like a feeling that I'm losing them, but I'm not. I think it's just going into the unknown.
Yeah.
But because this is getting the age where I got kicked out. So, anyway.
As the kids get older, they need you less and less. Sorry.
You gotta say it so loud,
Yeah. No, dude, every time I look at Fallon's old pictures or videos, or even one that I might have just taken yesterday, it kills me. Because she's not gonna be this big forever. None of these kids are.
No. That, honestly, every day is the best day when it comes to being a dad, for sure. Or a parent. But I will say, when the boys were like 2 to 5, oh man, what a great age. They just cling to you every second of the day. Yeah, that, if I could go back to that was incredible. That was amazing. So
I'm about to go and hug my kids so hard after this.
Awesome. That's so cool. I love it.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, I love you to death. I appreciate you being on the podcast. Thanks so much for opening up. That was incredible. This is going to be pretty good, I think. Hopefully helps out a lot of people.
Yeah, honestly, I think this was a pretty damn good podcast, and I can't wait to listen to myself fucking rant on for a very long time.
We didn't go to tears, so I think we did a good thing. I thought for sure at some point we'd be in tears.
About 5 or 6 times it almost happened. Yeah, on my end, at least. Yeah, I did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah, it happened a few times for me. All right, brother, well, I love you, and I'll talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good, dude.
All right. See you guys then.
Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to check out the show notes. As always, let's give them something to smile about, and we'll see you guys next week.